Hello everyone, welcome to crochetjhook Crochet. I'm Reggie. Thank you all for joining me today. Before we talk about today's topic, I just want to say thank you for joining. If you're new here, please consider subscribing and don't forget to give this thumbs up so that we will let YouTube know that we are here. And as usual, all the links to everything that's relevant to today's live chat will be in the description box below this video, as well as all of my personal links. I just want to mention a little thing. If you haven't been to my Teespring shop in the past, it has been updated this week and there is also a special discount code. The code is holiday, spelled all with capital letters, and I will edit that into the description box below as well. After this live stream, I forgot to do that, and that discount code will give you 15% off of anything in the Teespring shop. So if you want some crochetjhook Crochet merchandise, this would be your chance. The code will be good until the 6th of January, which is the formal ending of holiday season here in Germany. So let's see who's with us in the chat today. I see both Catherines. Hello to both of my moderators, Catherine and Catherine. Thank you for joining me today. I am very happy both of you are here. And to the rest of you in the chat, if you do not know Catherine and Catherine yet, Cats, Eye Catchers, and Little Vicious Stitches, definitely go and check out their channels as well. I see Carrie. Carrie says she's very glad I'm doing this topic. She really wants to buy some new kinds of yarn. Well, wonderful. Perfect. Then stay with me. I have a lot of information to share today. Dusty Cat says, good morning. Just got up, so it's morning for me. Well, it's as usual, 6 in the evening here for me. I see Lashera. Good morning to you. And Eileen is with us from Florida. Welcome. And Debbie is joining us. And Anvita, I see. And Rita, hello. And Trisha, Mama Swift, hi. She also has a channel. Go check her out. Everyone's saying hi. Very happy to hear that you're all good. You're going to be lurking while you work on your next Afghan. Okay, wonderful. What kind of Afghan are you working on? I'd love to hear. Bitch in Stitches is here. Hello. Hi. Thank you for joining me. Catherine. Oh, congratulations on monetizing. Thank you. Yes, for those of you who watched me last week on my holiday special, there were a few people asking why they cannot donate with Super Chat, and I replied and said that my channel is not monetized. I have been able to monetize for a while now, but I've been still thinking about it and pondering. But then after live chat, people also mentioned it in their emails when they wrote me about their winnings. They mentioned it again that they would really love to be able to donate through super chat, or just watching the ads in the beginning of the videos to do a little something for the channel. So, well, yes, so I took the step and I am now monetized. Yay to me! Congratulations. I hope you all, will contribute the way you can. I'm not expecting anyone to do anything. Bitchin' Stitches says she always loves buying new yarn. She collects yarn. Well, we all do, as you can see. We're neighbors, Lashira. Oh, wait, we were talking about it on another live chat, right? You're from the Netherlands, if I remember correctly. Where in the Netherlands are you from? Audra, is that your name? I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing anyone's name wrong. Just correct me. So I think your name is Audra Monson. Good day. I am too lurking as I work on filet dolly. Okay, so everyone who's lurking, thank you for lurking. I appreciate it. I hope that you will find today's live chat informative and helpful. I have a lot of information to share with you guys today. So today's live chat is all about how to buy yarn online. I have mentioned many times in my past videos that I do not have many stores around me that sell yarn as, the big stores that sell yarn. I have all kinds of little stores that sell other things and a little bit of yarn. If you watch any of my yarn shopping videos, then you may have seen my ridiculous excuse for a yarn aisle in the stores where I can go and actually buy yarn physically. So I buy most of my yarn online. And if you look behind me, you will see that I do a lot of shopping. So I am kind of an expert of how to buy yarn online. I wasn't always. In the beginning too, have had many mishaps and bad experiences with different companies or with different yarns, or I just didn't know exactly what to look at when I buy yarn. So today I'm going to share all this information with you so that you can also buy yarn online. In today's day and age, their selection online is much, much bigger than the selection in the stores. Not to mention that going to the stores right now can be a bit of a hassle. So I thought that this information would be something that anyone can use. And so I hope you like it. Lashera, you're from Rotterdam. Oh, okay, that's nice. I think you're actually closer to Catherine than to me. But yes, well, the Netherlands is not such a big place. One side to the other is maybe 2.5 hours drive. So, I'm right on the border. I think it's about 1 hour and 50 minutes from you to me, or from me to you. I live in a very, very small town right on the Dutch-German border. Actually, if you drive this way on the street where I live, straight ahead, I don't know, maybe 1 kilometer, you're already over the border. Denise is saying watching ads allows you to support your favorite channels. Yeah, well, exactly. So that's what some people mentioned in the emails that they wrote me after last week's lives. They said that they would love to support by watching the ads and do whatever they can. So I said, well, if it doesn't... My thought of monetizing was always over, does it bother the people who watch the videos? So, but if it does bother them, most of them are skippable ads. So, I thought we'll just do it. It's not such a big revenue. For those of you who also own a channel, you may know YouTube takes the most from the ads revenue. But you still, as a creator, you get a little something. And everything that I bring in from my Etsy store, from my Teespring shop, from now YouTube goes back into putting good quality content into the channel. So hello to everyone just joining us today. Hello to Vermont, Kathy, and hello to Iris. And I'm very, very happy you're all with me today, and I'm just gonna dive right into it. So before I start talking, and you know, when I start talking, I really get into it. So before I start talking, I want to ask you guys, what are your biggest problems with buying yarn online? What is the thing that's for you the hardest to determine? Is it what the yarn feels like, what it looks like? Is it weight per or meters per weight, and so on? What is your biggest problem with ordering online? And if you have ordered online before, tell me, what was your biggest mishap? Where did you completely gone wrong? Ordered something and got something completely different than what you expected. Lashera, where exactly? The little town where I live here, it's called Ubach-Palenberg. It's like a tiny, tiny, tiny town. I am pretty sure that if you look at the map of Germany, you'll have to like zoom in really, really close in order to find where it is. But if you live in the area, maybe you know it because there's a very big NATO base, air base, not far from where I live. It's actually, like, I can see it from so it's really not far from where I live. Hello, Wilma. Hi, also from the Netherlands. Yeah, I am okay. We are in total lockdown at the moment. So, yeah, everything is closed and the children are home full time. But we're okay. We're doing well. Priscilla, hi, hello. Thank you for joining me. You're watching ads. Yay. So Anvita says her bigger problem with shopping for yarn online is color. Picture on screen not matching the actual yarn. All right, so yeah, that is a common problem. When people shop online for yarn, you only have that one picture that the website had for that specific yarn, and a lot of times they don't match. So we will talk about that too. Angela says, ordering online, anything not just yarn, being able to touch and see the quality. Yes, that is also a problem, especially with yarn, since, you know, we work with yarn, we want to know what it feels like. And buying online, you can't really go and feel them. So there's not really a solution to that, you know. There's not like a virtual, maybe a virtual reality store, but still you won't be able to like really feel what it feels like. So you might just get the actual, you know, experience of holding it, but you won't actually feel what it feels like. However, it is hard to determine if a yarn is soft, if it's itchy, or if it has halo, if it doesn't have halo. A lot of times you can't really see it on the picture. So we're going to talk about all of that today, and how you can at least maybe not know 100%, but at least know the direction of what this yarn should feel like. Eileen says shipping costs. Yes, shipping costs is a very big problem. However, you know, there's really nothing you can do about shipping costs. There are some tips about certain websites that I can give on how to maybe avoid the high shipping costs. But yeah, well, shipping costs is the problem with anything online. By the way, for those of you who add more yarn to your carts in order to get free shipping, I just, you know, just as something to consider. You spend more money in order to get the free shipping. And sometimes if you would have just, you know, ordered less plus the shipping, the total amount will be less than what you would have paid if you ordered enough to get to the free shipping. So sometimes it's not the most perfect idea to just fill up your cart until you get the free shipping. But we'll talk about that when we talk about shipping. Debbie says, knowing companies to order from, not just the large companies. Okay, well, I have a lot to say about that. Carrie feels like I ordered a 4 weight for ice, and I swear I got a 2. people's weights are a little different. I like bigger yarn weights. I still have that 2 weight after a year. Well, Carrie, I have the perfect solution for the yarn weight problem, and we will talk about that. And shipping costs. Yes, shipping costs is a huge factor. It is for me too, so you're in the great place to talk about that. Hello, Julie. Hi, thank you for joining. And another Julie says she's in Canada and the shipping costs are very expensive. Most times the price of shipping is more than the yarn. Then we have taxes and customs, so not really worthwhile buying online. Yes, I understand that completely. Again, I live in Germany. So, you know, whenever someone on YouTube puts like, this or that company is having a huge sale or grab bags or whatever, you know, all these Mary Maxim, Michael's, Joann's, Lion, Brand, I cannot order from them. I cannot, because the shipping costs are ridiculous. They are ridiculous. I buy mostly from European websites, and even then I buy from the ones that I know their shipping costs are reasonable, because I ship a lot inside Europe. I also have an Etsy store, so I know what it costs to ship. So if they charge me more for the shipping than what I know it costs, I don't buy from them. Priscilla says it depends on reviews sometimes for the feel. Yeah, we'll talk about reviews as well. Shipping costs is a pain. Yeah, everyone agrees. Christy, hello everyone. I'm going to listen while I crochet. No problem. You're welcome to lurk, as I've said before. I welcome all our viewers. Whether you're lurking or actively chatting or asking questions, you will get the information you want here today. Catherine says free shipping is never really free. It's just calculated in a price. Exactly. So a lot of times when the companies put up the price of the yarn on the website, shipping is already calculated in the price. And then when you get free shipping, it's not really free. You already paid for it when you paid for the yarn. So, okay, there is no real thing such as free shipping, but we will talk about prices a little later. I do want to start with the things that I think are more critical. We will talk about prices at the end. And I just want to say, me personally, the price is a very big factor for me, but there isn't like really a big tip on how to avoid the price. I mean, the price of shipping is the price of shipping. Whatever the company puts on the website, that's what they charge. So of course you always have to go and look and see, do you agree with that shipping price? Do you not agree? And if you don't buy. I have mentioned in different videos that I did in the past that there are two big companies that I stopped buying from because of shipping costs. Again, I will talk about it later when we'll get to shipping, but it's, this is something that's up to you. But be sure, there is no such thing as free shipping. Even Hobby, which I buy a lot from, and if you look behind me, you see like my stash is pretty much 90% Hobby, if not more. And everything that I buy off Hobby, I always get free shipping because I buy a lot. But I do realize that it's not really free shipping. Even if it does say free shipping, it's not really free. The yarn is expensive as is. Catherine's ordering pizza. Well, what are you ordering, Catherine? That sounds, I would go for some pizza though. We just had McDonald's, but I would definitely go for pizza. Hi, Adele. Thank you for joining. Very much appreciated. Okay, so what we're going to start with is actually talking about how to determine what a certain yarn feels like, or more specifically, what does each specific fiber bring into the yarn? So when I look at a yarn on the website, how can I not 100%, but sort of determine what that would feel like? Now, before I start blabbering or saying out the information, I just want to mention that when I talk about or when I am in the information zone, then I do not read the chat. So if there's anything that you asked while I was talking and I didn't answer it, is because I didn't see it. After I will finish talking, I will do a small break, go back into the chat and read that. So just don't, you know, if I've missed your questions, write it again, and don't feel like I'm ignoring you. I'm not intentionally ignoring anyone. So the first thing we're going to talk about is what does each fiber, what does each individual fiber, what are the properties that it brings into yarn. So if I look at a website and I see this is a 50-50 wool acrylic blend, what should I expect that it feels like? Or what qualities does acrylic bring into that mix, and what qualities does wool bring into that mix, so that I can sort of understand what that yarn will be like. So we're going to talk about specific yarn types and what qualities each of them brings. And, you know, wool is the first thing I'm going to talk about. So, I mean, of course, if you're allergic to wool, maybe some of that information is not 100% relevant to you, but I will get to all fibers that I could think of, come up with, and actually have the knowledge about. So I'm going to start with wool because wool is pretty much the main ingredient. You know, when you think of yarn, the two main things normally that you think about are wool and acrylic. Those are like the main two fibers out there. But there are so many different kinds of wool. Even not only that there's wool that comes from different animals, even within those animals, there are different kinds of wool. So there are different kinds of sheep, and there are like llamas and alpacas, which each of them is different, and there are different kinds of goats and different kinds of rabbits. So we're going to talk a little bit about the main ones. So of course, sheep wool. Different sheep breeds produce different length of fiber, and so what you need to understand is the sheep wool has different, the fiber itself has different lengths and sorry, English is a hard language. Coarseness. So the longer the fiber, it generally tends to be more itchy. So if the fiber is shorter, it's normally softer, and if it's longer, it's not. Now, we're talking about the fiber coming from the sheep before it's being turned into yarn. So the longer the fiber, it tends to be more itchy and cause more scratchiness. However, the longer fibers are more water resistant. So each different kind of sheep wool has its own pluses and minuses, obviously, but you do need to know what each of them brings, so that if I look at a yarn label and it says this one is 75% superwash merino and 5% stellina, and the rest is this and that, I don't know, let's say cotton, just, you know, just it's weird mix like that, then I want to know, what does the cotton bring into the mix, what does the stellina bring into that mix, and what does the superwash merino brings. So different kinds of wool brings different kinds of content into that fiber. Shorter fibers, shorter sheep wool fibers tend to be softer, and they produce more peeling. So the softer ones they normally peel more than the longer ones. So they need to be handled more gently. So if I get a yarn that is merino yarn, for example, it will be super, super soft, but merino yarn that's not the non-superwash merino yarn peels more than the one that is superwash merino. And that's stuff that we need to know when we buy the fibers. Okay, so I was talking about peeling, and so yarns that produce more peeling needs to be handled more gently. So I want to know when I buy the yarn, is this something that I can wash in a washing machine, or is this something that's only hand wash? And if I sell items that I crochet or knit, then I need to know what to tell my customers, and all that stuff is things that are very important to know. So wool is normally, so again, normally wool fibers are not washing machine friendly. And most of the yarn labels recommend hand wash when it comes to wool. However, some wool fibers are what we all in the community have come to know as superwash, and they go through specific processes, and they are being handled in a way which make them more durable and less prone to pilling. So whenever you see that there is a wool content in the yarn, but it does say it's superwash, then you know, oh, this is something that I will be able to wash in the washing machine up to 30 degrees Celsius. But if you see that it's a non-superwash, or the word superwash does not appear on it, then you should definitely have it hand washed, and you will also most likely need to block that item. These are all things that we want to know when we choose what to buy. Now, these are all things that we also look at when we go to the store, but when we buy online, this is something that we need to pay closer attention to, because not all companies will state on the page where you see the yarn, washing machine friendly or pilling or anti-peeling or so on. Some companies would, some companies wouldn't, and when I buy, I want to know what I'm getting. And so all of these, what I just said, all of this is true to all sheep wool. But like I said before, there are different kinds of sheep wool. So what are the different or main wool types? Oh, the first one that we all know and love is merino wool. This one is the finest of the finest wool. It comes from merino sheep, obviously. Now, if any of you watched my video talking about Sadie's Spincraft, I explained there the difference between merino wool and BFL. So if you haven't watched that, then you can definitely go back and watch that video another time, or mark it to yourself so that you'll watch it another time. But merino wool or merino sheep, they belong to those shorter fiber family. So it is the finest of the finest. It comes from merino sheep, and it is considered the finest breed. It is short fiber, like I just said, and therefore is very, very soft. So whenever we see merino in some kind of yarn, 100% merino or 50% merino, then we know it brings the softness into there. So any yarn that will have a large percentage of merino wool in it will be soft. And of course, non-superwash merino will felt, as I've mentioned before. Merino wool, if it doesn't go through those processes that make it non-superwash, it will felt and it will peel. And therefore, it should only be hand wash and gently cared for. However, if you buy superwash merino, mostly washing machine friendly up to 30 degrees Celsius. So before I go to talk about the next kind of wool, I'm going to check if anyone had any questions up until now. No, people are just saying hi and bye. Okay, good. So I guess you're all listening. I hope you're all listening. So the next one that I want to talk about is BFL. Now, once again, in that video that when I was talking about Sadie's Spincraft, I was explaining about BFL and why it's good. But if you do not know BFL, it's kind of like sort of like new, maybe in mass produce. But whoever is, if there are people amongst us in the chat right now who are into spinning, into fiber spinning, then you may know that BFL is very popular amongst spinners. It's not as soft as merino, but it is still very soft. it produces a stronger and better wearing fabric. So typically items that are made with BFL yarn, they will drape better than merino wool. And it's just, sorry, I lost my track. So BFL has less what they called memory. Okay, if when you're talking about fiber and memory, so fibers who have high memory or larger percentage of, they're less drapey. They will keep shape of whatever you make. So if you make a shawl, for example, BFL will be the better choice. It drapes better. So when I look at the yarn, now I'm on the website and I'm looking and I see that it is 75% BFL and 25% nylon. So I know that this yarn has a very high drape factor, okay, rather than merino. So what we normally get, you know, all these yarn clubs that I'm subscribed to. If you follow my channel, you obviously know a lot of those yarns that I get are some kind of fingering merino nylon mix. Dyers love to sell it in their yarn clubs because it's so soft. However, when you make a shawl, for example, merino will be very soft. It will be very, you know, cuddly. It will be warm, but BFL will like drape around your body. It will flow when you walk with it. So that's the big factor. Any questions about BFL or merino until now? Natalie's here. Hello, Natalie. Welcome. Hi, beautiful friend. Can only be here for a minute. Out running errands with mom and Miley. Hi, mom. Hi, Miley. Wanted to make my first live of yours. Thank you for coming, Natalie. I really appreciate it. Thank you for being here. Catherine says, I haven't used BFL yet, but I have used 100% merino, so soft. Yes, merino is definitely the softer of the two. BFL is still soft, but it has other qualities. Natalie says, personally, she prefers merino versus BFL because of the softness. Yeah, I know that. I can tell the difference in the 2 or 3 hanks I've gotten. Yes, as I've said, merino will have this soft factor because merino is short fiber. Again, when we talk short fiber, long fiber, we're talking not short yarn, long yarn. It's a fiber coming from the animal, coming from the sheep. Short fiber will tend to be softer. Ones who are longer or curly fibers will turn to be rougher. Julie says, I do a little spinning with a drop spindle. I have used merino fiber, haven't tried a BFL fiber yet. Waiting to master spinning a little better. Okay, well, once you do, if you ever do use BFL, I would love to hear how that went and what you thought of it. Kim is here, affordably crafty. Hi, hello, welcome. Thank you for joining. Molly says, what is BFL yarn? So BFL yarn is just a different kind of sheep. They are called BFL. That stands for, I can never say it right. My tongue always gets twisted, but it's blue-faced Leicester or Leicester. That's just the name of the breed. It's a British breed, and it's just a different kind of breed. And if you see, again, go after this live, not now, go watch the video that I did, independent seller video about Sadie's Spincraft. She spins her own yarn. She also dyes her own yarn, and I got some yarn from her, and I did a review of her store, and she uses both BFL and merino, and I had the pictures of what BFL looks like, what does merino look like, to explain the difference between the different fibers that she works with. Exactly, blue face. It's actually yes, it is pronounced Lyser. Like someone told me when I was researching a few months ago, because I was buying different kinds of fibers and I wanted to know what it feels like, what it is, and so on. One of the spinners that I spoke to told me, just think of Lester when you say it. That's how she remembered it. So, but normally when you buy yarn, when you will go to the store or when you buy online, which is what we're talking about today, so the content will say BFL. It is a kind of wool, kind of sheep wool, that is not as soft, not as soft as merino wool, but definitely has better drape. Okay, so we're going to talk about the next kind of wool now, in case anyone has any. Julie says there are some US breeders who raise BFL, some in New England area, I believe. Oh, that's good to know. Is it less expensive? A little, but there's not a huge difference in price. All right, I'm going to talk about any more? No, okay. So Shetland wool. So maybe some of you heard of it. Maybe you've come across it in different yarn. Probably more if you ever bought like a 100% British wool yarn, that maybe you have come across Shetland wool, or maybe you in your local yarn shop, because like mass produce use it less. Those are made from the fleece of native sheep of Scotland's Shetland Islands. So it is one of the finest and softest of any UK breed. And in addition to being soft, it's also strong and durable. So if you get yarn that has Shetland wool in it, you'll get the softness of the Shetland wool, as well as very strong and durable fiber. Now, all wools as a whole, some of them are more water resistant, some of them are less, some of them make a warmer wearable, some of them are more, well, they all make you warm, obviously, but some of them keep more heat and some of them less. But this is something that when we talk about yarn labels and when we buy yarn online, we want to know what it feels like. So we talk more in sense of softness. However, yes, Shetland wool and definitely Icelandic wool will keep you warmer than other ones. But Icelandic wool is the next one I'm going to talk about, so I don't want to talk about it yet. Kim is asking where in New England. So Julie, if you have any idea where in New England they grow them. Catherine wanted to try Shetland, but it's on the expensive side. Yes, it is, because like I said, those are sheep that are specifically bred in Shetland Islands. This is not something it's not the kind of wool that's mass produced. Hi Angela, the crazy poppy lady is here. Hi, thank you for joining. So the next one I want to talk about is Icelandic wool, or Icelandic wool from Iceland. But no, it's not specifically from Iceland. It's called Icelandic wool. It's a rustic yarn. So the wool of Icelandic sheep is unique because it contains two different types of hair. It serves as a natural barrier from wet and cold weather. So because those are sheep that are being bred and grown in colder atmospheres, so their coat is different. We are talking about Icelandic. I'm sorry, my mark moved. So it is they have a different coat, and so they are more, or the sheep themselves are more cold weather sheep, and so their coat is different, and therefore Icelandic wool tends to itch more, be more scratchy. It is a rougher kind of wool. It's more than not, not as soft as the short coat that you get from sheep that live in warmer climates. And so typically, if the sheep are from a warmer climate area, their yarn will be softer and not as rough. So Icelandic wool felts very easily. So if you do felting, for example, if you're into felting, then Icelandic wool is something that's very easy to felt. And it is not at all washing machine friendly. You should definitely not put Icelandic wool in the washer. So what is it good for? Well, Icelandic wool makes very, very warm wearables. You might make a sweater out of it, probably one that you wear over another shirt because it would be itchy, but it will keep you very, very warm if you do some kind of, it's sort of like insulation. You know what I mean? Kim loves Icelandic wool. Kim, maybe you can tell us what do you make with it? What kind of items do you use Icelandic wool for? And assuming that you have worked with other kinds of wool, maybe you can also give some opinion about the difference between the two. I have some Icelandic wool from a company called Viking of Norway, if I'm not mistaken. And I have made a few items out of it. I have made a hat, a beanie out of it. It keeps the head very, very warm, but as I've said, it is a bit rough and a little bit of scratchy. So I had to line it from the inside so it doesn't itch your ears. But when it's lined from the inside, it's a wonderful winter hat. Natalie's going. Okay, bye Natalie. Thanks for joining. I'm very, very happy that you could be here even for a little bit, and I highly appreciate it. Thank you. Have a lovely weekend. Yeah, well, my weekend is almost done. But thanks for being here, and have a wonderful holiday. I probably will talk to you before, but still. So we spoke about Icelandic wool. And does anyone have any questions about the three types of wool that I mentioned until now? Just write it in the chat. I will continue talking to the next one, and after the next one I will go into the chat and check out questions. So if you have any kind of questions about merino wool, BFL, or Icelandic wool, oh sorry, and I also spoke about Shetland wool, so any of those four, just put them in the chat and we'll get back to it after I finish talking about the next one. So the next one I wanted to talk about is lamb wool. Now again, this is something that's not very common. You might find it more in those I don't know, high quality hand dyed yarns, or where you go to your local yarn shop, or if you buy a lot of British wool, you might come across it. So lamb wool is the softest sheep yarn that you will get, because it comes from the sheep. It comes from the very first shearing of sheep. So generally speaking, lamb wool is warmer than merino wool. So if we're talking finished project, will it keep me warm? Will it be breathable? So lamb wool makes a very warm sweaters, for example. They're very good for cold weather, for snowy kind of hard winters. It is very, very high quality yarn. It allows very high quality of spinning. So again, if you're a spinner, maybe you've come across it, but it allows for it gives a very high quality of spin in the yarn. And so it's considered, one of the top of the top in terms of sheep wool, or that comes from sheep. Catherine says the Icelandic doesn't sound very appealing. Yeah, I think that in terms of yarn, it really depends what you're making. You don't always, sometimes all you look for in a yarn is softness, but then there will be some kind of projects when if all you have is very, very soft yarn, then there will be those projects when you come and you say, wait, this yarn is so soft and so cloud-like, but it's not right for this thing that I need to make or want to make. So yeah, I wouldn't use Icelandic wool for, I don't know, the baby items or a scarf, because it will sit around my neck and kill me. But like I said, I would make a sweater out of it, something that you wear over your pullover if you definitely live in a cold climate or where the winters are very, very hard. These kind of things will keep you warm through the winter. So, it all depends on what's the final goal. So I don't see any new questions in the chat, and so I'm just gonna continue talking about the next one. I'm gonna assume that you all are finding what I'm saying interesting and that I'm clear enough, and you just have no questions because I answered them all. So the next thing I want to talk about is mohair. Now, I know some people in the chat right now are going, oh, mohair. But do you know what it is, what it's made of? Do you know why is it so dreamy? Well, mohair is made from the Angora goat. Not to confuse with the Angora rabbit, there is also wool made out of Angora rabbit, but that it's called something different. So if you buy mohair, if you look at the yarn label and it has, I don't know, 20% mohair in it, so mohair, pronounced mohair, made from Angora goat, and it is both durable and resilient, and it is notable for a very high luster and sheen. So the yarn is like, I have some here. It is sort of like cloudy, it has a cloudy look to it, has a lot of halo, and it's very, very soft, but it's also very resilient. And so a lot of people like to, because most mohair yarns or yarns that have mohair in them are very, very thin. A lot of people like to hold it together with another yarn when making a sweater, or making a sweater or knitting a sweater just out of mohair, and then it gets this like cloudy kind of fluff look, but it is still very, very warm because the yarn itself is very resilient, very, very durable. Julie says Breezy Meadows Farm in Pennsylvania, I guess. Is PA Pennsylvania? I don't know. Upton Yarns and Cranberry Moon Farms. I guess those are places where they grow. What were we talking about? BFL or Shetland? One of the two. That they grow them in the States. Jeannie saying the information I'm providing is super helpful. Thank you. I'm glad you find it interesting. Julie says she believes there is a New England breeders. Sorry. You've seen it mostly through independent fiber festivals. All right. So I'm going to continue talking. So we spoke about mohair, and I said not to confuse with Angora. So what is Angora? Angora is produced from the coat of Angora rabbit. So this is, up until now we were talking about sheep and goats, and now we're talking rabbits, rabbit fur. So Angora is produced from the coat of Angora rabbits, and it is a very, very lightweight yarn. Not to mean that you cannot make it into a thicker yarn. They generally don't. And the yarn itself is very light, so it doesn't have a lot of weight. and it has a lot of fluff. What we like to also maybe, maybe halo will be the more the more correct term to use, but fluff is more appropriate when you talk about Angora. It has this halo-like effect to the fur around each strand. So each strand of yarn has like this really halo-like effect all around it. And so that's it's different than mohair. It has like more, yeah. I don't have any other word to it other than fluff, because halo is just not, it's just not on the point when you talk about Angora. So this halo-like effect, it creates a shiny quality to any item that you make with Angora. It's generally warmer than the sheep wool. So generally, Angora yarn will be or will produce something warmer than the same item made with the sheep wool option. Before I will go on to talking about cashmere, I will check out if anyone had any questions. You love my organizational style. Thank you. Angora rabbits are so adorable. Yes. Have you ever held an Angora rabbit? It's like holding a cloud. Thank you, Reggie, for sharing this helpful information. Have a wonderful week, everyone. Oh, you have to go, Priscilla. Thank you for being here today. I really appreciate you joining me. And oh, Rita. Oh my God, that's my very first super chat. Rita, thank you. Thank you very much. I don't have any, you know what? Cheers, Rita. Cheers to you. Thank you very much for your kind donation. She says, I love your videos and live stream. Thank you. Thank you very much for joining, and thank you for watching. And you are my very first super chat donator, so I will remember you forever, Rita. Cheers. Hello, Lori. Hi. Thank you for joining. Catherine says, with Angora, I would like to say you have to check if it's cruelty-free. Yes. Good companies will assure it is. Yes, definitely. I was gonna talk about the whole cruelty-free subject when I finish talking about animal-based yarns. So I do have 2 more to go, so bear with me, and then we'll talk a little bit about cruelty-free. So the next one I wanted to talk about is cashmere. Cashmere is fiber obtained from cashmere goats. So there is not any goat can make cashmere. It's like a specific breed of goats, and they make the cashmere out of cashmere goats or pashmina goats, and some other breeds of goats, but not all breeds of goats. And that's for those of you who are interested in the behind the scene information. That's important to know. Clothes that are made from cashmere are sometimes up to 8 times warmer than sheep's wool. So if you're going for warmth, yeah, cashmere is definitely warmer than any other kind of wool. And it is extremely soft. So if we're talking sheep or goat wool, cashmere will be the most, or 8 times warmer, up to 8 times warmer, so way warmer than the regular wool. And it will also be extremely soft, so you'll get the softness and cloud-like feel that we were talking about with the Angora and the mohair, and you will get the good qualities of the sheep or goat wool. So due to everything that I just said, cashmere tends to be very pricey, which is why it is more commonly mixed with other types of fibers, and very rarely on its own. You will get yarns that are 100% cashmere, and then they will be like, whew, the price will be somewhere up there. But mostly it is mixed into other yarns. So when we spoke about buying yarn online, I see in the content it has 10% cashmere. What can it tell me? Well, it tells me that the cashmere brings this super extra softness, durableness, and warmth into my finished product. And the last one I want to talk about is alpaca. Now, alpaca is stronger, softer, lighter, and warmer than either merino or cashmere. So alpaca is like the I don't want to say like the wool yarns of wool yarns. It's a natural choice for winter clothing because it is warmer. So winter clothing, accessories, alpaca wool will be the choice to go with. It's also resistant to peeling, so you know you get that extra. You don't need all that superwash talk, and it won't shrink if you properly treat it. So of course, don't put any wool in the dryer, but if you treat it properly, then it will also not shrink, which is very important to know when making an item. So this resistant to peeling and the fact that it doesn't shrink if you treat it properly makes it possible to keep your alpaca clothing for, I don't know, years, sometimes decades. It's luxurious, it's a silky kind of fiber, and it contains, alpaca wool contains no lanolin, which is what people are allergic to. So if you are allergic to wool, or you don't buy wool because you're allergic to it, 99% that what you're allergic to is the lanolin. And alpaca's wool, or alpaca or yarn made out of alpaca wool, does not contain it, which makes it hypoallergenic. So it is naturally water repellent and fire resistant. Okay, so yes, alpaca is like the king of wool yarns. And that's my short list of wool yarns. Of course, there are way more wool yarns that I could mention, but in talking of wool yarns, that's the ones I wanted to mention. Now, if you have any questions, anything you want to say about any of the wool yarns that I mentioned up until now, then you should ask it in the chat right now, because I'm going to go back into the chat and see what you guys were talking about while I was reading. And afterwards, we will continue talking about the next kind of fibers. Oh my god, I got another super chat. I'm so excited. Thank you. Proverbs 31 yarn. Am I reading this correctly? Cheers to you, and thank you very, very much. Thank you for your contribution, for supporting the channel, for being here today, for listening. I'm ecstatic. Thank you. Cheers to you. So people are saying hi to Priscilla and congrats on my YouTube. Thank you. Catherine says cashmere is dreamy. Yes, it is. Thank you for all you do. Now you're welcome, and thank you guys for supporting, watching, being here. If you're new here, please consider subscribing to my channel, and please don't forget to hit the thumbs up for this video so more people will get notified that it's on right now. Catherine says cashmere is only the wool from the underbelly of the goat, by the way. Yeah, true. However, not, like I said before, not any underbelly of any goat. There are specific goats which the yarns or the wool from their underbelly is used in the production of cashmere. Catherine from Little Bish's Stitches, who should be a very good fiber expert, she says it really is very soft. I dyed with it recently, and yes, it can be quite expensive. She's talking about cashmere. but depending on what project you have planned, absolutely worth it. Yes, absolutely. I actually have some of her yarn that she's talking about. It is here, this here, everything you see here, this side of this window, it's my Little Vicious Stitches yarn. Alice is asking which wool has the least itch factor when used as a blend with acrylic. That would be either superwash merino, cashmere, all the soft ones that I mentioned, Shetland wool, lamb wool, all the ones that are short fiber. So I don't know. I mean, okay, I don't think I haven't seen BFL acrylic blends yet. BFL is relatively new. But a merino acrylic blend, yeah, a merino will definitely put this softness into it. Baby alpaca is also soft. Yes, it is. It's like wearing a cloud. What about yak? Yak is one of the not so soft yarns. The reason of course I could not include all wools in today's live. I cannot talk about each and every kind. I could not, I did not include yak, llama, camel, which I have a lot to say about too, but not today. There are a lot of other kind of wools that I did not mention today. Yak is not as common as the other ones, but is available in a lot of different companies. So yak is not the softest, let's say this way. It has a roughness to it, but it is, however, very, very durable and very, very warm. It is also very expensive. How about llama yarn? Yeah, so llama yarn is not as soft as alpaca. I did see quite a few companies who started selling llama yarn lately. I actually saw llama silk, which is some... it sounds like a dreamy mixture, and I really want to try it, but I haven't bought it yet. I will let you guys know what it's like once I do. Llama and alpaca come from the same family, but they are not the same. There is no... Don't say, oh, it's llama, alpaca, it's the same thing. No, in terms of yarn, alpaca is the soft one. Llama kind of resembles sheep yarn more. Lori says, I love alpaca, and there's a local woman near me that raises them and sells the fiber. Lori, I have someone in the neighborhood here has 2 of them in their backyard. I have not yet come to talk to that person and ask them what they exactly do with them, but yeah, they are really cute, I must say. Oh, you know what? I saw a video a while back from... what's her name? Oh, I keep forgetting her name. The String Stretching Studio. Sherry is her name? I'm not sure. Her channel name is the String Stretching Studio, and she went to one of those farms and spent the day with them as they were shedding the animals, sorting out the coat and everything, and she did a whole video about it. It was very interesting. I mean, I wish there was something in the area here that I could go and see, but the only thing that I saw around where I live is there are people who do like llamas and alpaca hikes. So you can hike with a llama. You don't ride them. They just walk with you. Judy says she's never seen Angora mohair, but often see kid mohair. How does it compare to plain mohair? Oh, well, Angora... Okay, Angora and mohair, like I explained before, are 2 different things. So, so I think your question refers to plain mohair versus kid mohair, and the answer would be that kid mohair is softer. When I visited South Dakota, there was a local yarn store with yarns made from yak fiber and bison fiber. What was that like? Bison fiber, I've never seen that before. Catherine says, exactly, very specific place on very specific goats. No wonder it costs that much, but so luxurious. He's talking about cashmere. Yes, Kim, camel. There is camel yarn. There's so many. I mean, have you guys ever heard of vicuña? Vicuña yarn costs around 200 euros a ball. 200 euros, one ball of yarn. Vicuña yarn, yes. Lori, hi Lori, hi everyone. Been catching up with laundry and dishes. Yes, Saturday is like the day of lives on YouTube. Yeah, my husband doesn't like that day. The farm is, they actually have two. She has Angora goats too. She's in Middleborough. Okay, I guess you guys, that says something to you guys. Denise is saying she bought some possum. The weirdest visual of shearing the possum. Oh man, you saw them do that? The reality was darker than the shearing circus in my head. Oh my god. That does not sound good. Yes, Catherine, camel yarn did not sound like something appealing to me either. Kathy, yes, vicuña yarn is very soft. Actually, I mean, I did have the chance to feel it. I did not buy it though because it was way too expensive. Do you own any? How? I mean, just tell us about it. There's like, they live like in a very specific place, and the whole process of making the yarn out of the coat is like a big thing. And it's one of those yarns that, I don't know, maybe one day when I swim in money and don't know what to spend it on, I might buy myself some. But not just like that. All right, so I think we sort of got the idea of what each kind of wool brings to a yarn. So when we go on a website to buy yarn online, and we see one of those ingredients that we just spoke about, then we know what exactly it brings into that mixture, or maybe it's a 100% alpaca or 100% cashmere, so we know what to expect. Now we're going to talk a little bit about cellulose fiber, and the reason I'm saying a little bit about cellulose fiber is because I had a whole live stream about cellulose fiber 2 weeks ago, I think it was. And so if you watched that live, then most of that information you already heard, and if you did not, then you can definitely go and watch it on the replay and get all the information you need to know about cellulose fiber. I don't want to sound like too full of myself, but I do have a ton of information about cellulose fibers, and I can talk about them for hours and hours, which I did, like I said, 2 weeks ago. So today I'm just going to say a little bit about each of them to give you kind of an idea of what they bring into a mix. So when you look at the label next time and you say, oh, that, I remember, she said this brings this and that, I know what to expect when I see it online. So as a whole, cellular fibers are machine washable, and they tend to get softer with time. So even if you get a yarn that has one of those fibers in it and it feels a little hard to begin with, take into consideration that one of those things that cellulose fibers bring into a yarn is the more you wash it or the more you wear it off, it gets softer. All the fibers of this fiber family have similar qualities. So many of them bring sort of the same things into the mix. But they all tend to be smooth, soft, and sometimes they are shiny. So whether you get a yarn that has a tencel mix in there, or whether you get a yarn that has a bamboo mix in there, a lot of times they will bring the same qualities into the yarn. Rayon, for example, can be made from different kinds of cellulose from different plants. So if you ever see rayon on there on the label, then you know this is something that's it's soft, it's shiny. It doesn't really matter what kind of plant it comes from, because otherwise it would put what specific plant it is from. These fibers all have great stitch definition and detail. So when you work with cellulose fiber, you know that's something that will hold a pattern well. You know, all these like intricate stitches, they look 100 times better on cellulose fibers. The most common and known cellulose fiber out there is cotton, and cotton is incredibly strong and durable. It's a natural fiber, absolutely no elasticity to it. So cotton, if you make an item out of, why is cotton so good for you know, all those market bags and all that kind of stuff? Because it has no elasticity to it. It is lightweight, it's very absorbent, and it's known to be cool and breathable fiber. So it's perfect for summer items, you know, summer shawls, swimsuit cover up because of its absorbent qualities. So because cotton holds water better than other yarns, it also has the chance to stretch. So cotton can hold an incredible amount of water in it. However, it does have the option, there is the point of too much, and then it tends to stretch and sag. And once cotton stretched, like I said before, it is not an elastic fiber. So once it stretches, it never gets its original shape again. That's something that's very important to know about cotton. In general, in a whole, if you buy a yarn that's 100% cotton, these will be the qualities. If you buy a yarn that has cotton in it, so you see, oh, it's an acrylic cotton blend, then you know, oh, the cotton bring into that mix that durable, strong, kind of qualities into that mix of yarn. That's what the cotton brings, but it does not bring elasticity with it, and it normally will be like a light kind of fiber. Next one I want to talk about is linen, and again, we spoke about linen in length on the other live, so I'm just going to say that in addition to being a durable fiber, linen is resistant to pilling and it doesn't get static. That's something very important when you plan your project, and you know, linen is a yarn that does not get static. However, it has a tendency to stick to itself, so it's better not to center pull linen. If you have a yarn that's linen or has some kind of linen blend in it, that's one yarn that you do not want to center pull. It has a tendency to stick to itself, and so yarn balls and cakes which are linen and being pulled from the center, they tend to fall apart. And the last thing that you want to know about linen is that finished projects made out of linen are very easily wrinkled. That's just something to know. Something to consider when you buy something that has linen in it. Another something that's important to know about linen, like we said in the beginning of all, I spoke about all cellulose fibers, and I said they all tend to be maybe a little bit rough or hard when you first see them, and then they get softer with time. Linen is one of the best examples to that. When you will look at it first, you will hold it in your hands, you say, oh, that's not very soft, but it softens after the first wash. The next cellulose fibers I want to mention is viscose. Viscose is a kind of fiber that's very airy. It makes it nicer for blouses, summer dresses. It's often used as a substitute for silk. It has a similar drape and this smooth feel, but it is a cellulose fiber. Viscose can hold dye without fading. So over time, it will endure washes, the color wouldn't fade with time. That's very good quality of viscose. And the last cellulose fiber that I'm going to mention is Tencel. And again, I spoke about it in length on the Vegan Yarns Live, and I also have a whole video only about Tencel in my channel. So if you haven't watched it yet, just go back to my channel. The video is called Everything You Need to Know About Tencel, or Everything You Want to Know About Tencel, one of the two. And you'll get all the information you know about this amazing fiber, which is my absolute favorite fiber, my personal favorite. Tencel is very soft. It's very, very shiny. So whenever you get a yarn that has a Tencel or lyocell, it's also very often referred to as lyocell. And if you have that on the tag, you know this yarn has a shiny finish to it and it's soft. It is stronger and durable than both cotton and linen. So it is a stronger fiber. However, it is not. It is soft. So it has stronger qualities, so it's the yarn itself won't break, cut, wear off, but it is soft, and it's even stronger than cotton when it's wet. So both yarns can hold a lot of water, but Tencel won't have this stretch and not getting back to its original form again like cotton does. Tencel has an amazing drape. It's perfect for shawls and summer garments, and it is awesome for baby items because it brings this amazing softness with it. So in terms of cellulose fibers, like I said, I'm not going to mention many more because I gave all the information about cellulose fibers, what they are and what they bring in my past live, as well as the other video that I did. I just wanted to mention some of them today because later when we'll talk about mixes and I'll say, oh, this one is a Tencel acrylic alpaca mix. Yeah, so you get the feel of what each of those fibers bring into that yarn. So, any questions specifically about cellulose fibers? Kathy says she doesn't own any. That was about the vicuña wool. Just a small toy vicuña I got in Peru. Oh, okay. Tris is here. Hello. Hi, Tris. So sorry you're late. That's okay. Hello, Anita from Argentina. Hi, welcome. That's very nice. I think you're my first Argentinian viewer. Catherine says it's silly. I always thought rayon was synthetic. I know better now. Yes, rayon is cellulose fiber. Made out of... When the label just says rayon, then it will normally not be specifically important which one it is. There's rayon from bamboo, there's just different kinds. Rita says she prefers to work with cotton, but she's trying to use acrylic now and get used to it. Why do you prefer cotton to acrylic, and why? Tris says, oh, interesting, not to center pull it. Good advice. Yes, if anyone here has ever worked with linen and tried to center pull it, you probably know it's like it falls on itself. You get a huge yarn bar. Not not a good look. Julie says, I have a couple of hanks of linen blend yarn. I've not yet caked to use. Thanks for the center pull tip. Yes. You can, cake them up and just put something like one of those paper towel rolls in the middle so that when you pull it, you can pull from the outside and it will spin, but it won't, the cake won't fall on itself. Yes, don't forget the thumbs up, everyone. Let's let YouTube know that we are here. Thank you, Tris. What yarns with Tencel do you buy? Me? I buy from Hobby. They have Tencel bamboo, they have Tencel cotton, they have a lot of kinds of mixes. this year specifically, I am subscribed to Knit Crate, and this year specifically, up until now, since January, so we are now in December, so the whole year, there were 2 yarns this year that had tencel in them. And you know, being the big tencel fan that I am, I was ecstatic, but I was shocked at how many people I have seen online unbagging, unwrapping, unboxing their yarns and not knowing what tencel was. It's like, it's the fiber of the future. It's really coming in. There are more and more yarn companies using tencel in their products. So get to know it. It's a magic. Am I going to mention silk? Yes, Judy, that's the next one I'm going to talk about. Eileen says she likes cotton more because it's breathable. Yes, well, like I mentioned in the vegan yarn live, all cellulose fibers tend to be more breathable. They react better with humidity. They are absorbent, so they keep humidity away from the body. They are very, very good. Oh my god, super chat! Thank you, Kathy! Oh, I'm so excited. I don't know how to react yet. I have to come up with some way to say thank you for the super chats, but this is my first time getting them, so I'm so excited. Thank you very much, Kathy. Cheers to you. She says, this is the first live chat I have made and very happy to be here. I'm very happy that you are here. Thank you for this information. You are most very, very welcome. I have said it so many times in the past. I have all this fiber information in my head, and I said I have to start sharing it. So yeah, that's what I'm doing here. Cheers to you, Kathy, and thank you. And Cynthia says she's coming late, but she's glad to be here. And Cynthia, we are glad to have you. I have silk and synthetic fibers still to talk about before we move on to the next stage of how to buy yarn online. But before I do, I want to mention something. So I have already mentioned 5 times or 6 times by now the live that I had a few weeks ago about vegan fibers and cellulose fibers. On that live stream, I showed you these 2 balls of yarn. These 2 little cakes. These are yarn cakes that I got from Hobby. This yarn is called Lily, and it is, it is 100 grams, 335 meters, and it is a viscose and linen blend, 70% viscose and 30% linen. And there are 2 of them, and you can win those if you go back to the replay of the live stream for 2 weeks ago, the one that is called the online guides to vegan fibers, or everything you wanted to know about vegan. Something like that. I'm not 100% on the name right now. So you can still enter to win this. And the way you enter is, don't close this window. Stay with us on the live chat. Open another tab on your computer or your phone or whatever, and go back to that live stream and comment under that video telling me which ones of the cellulose fibers that I mentioned in that live stream you would most like to try, or which ones have you already tried and liked, or which ones have you already tried and not liked, and just comment. And today, on this live stream today, I will pull the winner out of that other live stream using the YouTube random comment picker. So you still have until the end of today's live to enter the other one. So if you want, like I said, don't close this video, go back, open another one, and comment over there to enter for this giveaway. Jean says she loves working with tencel products and look forward to more of it. The sheen and texture is lovely and makes me super happy to enjoy. Yeah, definitely. Like I said, it's my favorite fiber. Yeah. Carrie says, have you mentioned acetate yarn? No. I'll talk about it in a second. I'm working it now. It feels really light, but as I'm working it up, the shawl feels kind of heavy. Is acetate a heavier yarn? So generally speaking, it's not much different than other cellulose fibers. However, acetate does have this insulation sort of, how do you say, so sort of quality to it. So it keeps warmth. So if you make a scarf out of acetate and you wear it around your neck, it will hold the heat inside. It's less breathable than the other fibers. So I don't know if it's like physically heavier, but feel-wise, when you work it, it will feel different because it doesn't have this like airy kind of quality. I don't know, in lack of a better word to it. It's like it holds heat. It does not breathe as well as other cellulose fibers. And if you can you tell us what acetate yarn are you using? Because I have used acetate yarn in the past, and the one I used, I don't remember which company it was from. But I used it once for one project. It was a few years ago, and since then I haven't seen it in any kind of yarn. So I don't think it's very common, and I don't think it's very popular. I haven't seen a lot of people use it. I also haven't seen a lot of companies produce it. So let us know, which one are you using? Is it something that you bought now, or is it like an older type of yarn that you're using? I would love to know. Hobby Lobby Acetate 1-1. Is that, are they like, do they have in their current collection an acetate yarn? It's very like unique for the times, because so many other cellulose fibers have gone into the mix. Acetate sort of was pushed aside a few years back. You just bought it. Maybe they're selling it as a winter yarn because it holds heat so well. Are they advertising it or promoting it as a winter or a warm kind of yarn? Tris, Carrie Penny just did a big review on Hobby Lobby's new acetate line a couple weeks ago. Was the first I've heard of it. They added one last couple months. Haven't worked it up. Okay. Well, good to know. I don't, like I said, like you guys know, I don't live in the States, so I don't have Hobby Lobby. I really haven't come across any acetate yarn for a very long time. But it's interesting. It's very interesting. They just get rid of summer yarns, and this is one of their new collections. So they're probably using it as a winter kind of yarn. There aren't many cellulose fibers who are winter fibers, because like everything that I said about cellulose fibers put together makes wonderful summer or springy items. They're not very, unless they are mixed with some other fiber, they don't do so well as winter warm kind of yarns. You don't like it. All right, so I'm going to talk about silk, and then I'm going to talk about cruelty-free, and then we're going to say synthetic fibers, and then we're going to move on to how everything I just said works into buying yarns online. So silk is made from cocoons of silkworms. It is therefore considered a natural fiber. However, it is animal-based. So it's like somewhere in the middle. It is different than wool in the terms that it's not a fur or a coat of a live animal. However, it is produced by a live animal, but it is a natural. So it's kind of like somewhere in the middle. It's pretty much like a category or a league of its own. And silk is incredibly soft. It's typically warmer than wool, and it has a good insulation property. So it keeps warm in the winter and cool in the summer, which is wonderful. You know, it is exactly what you want. Silk snags and peels over time, and therefore usually should be hand wash only. Now, well, yeah, silk, if you buy any kind of silk that is 100% silk, which is not recycled silk, and we'll talk, well, I don't want to talk about recycled fibers because it's a whole other subject, and I can do a whole live stream just about recycled fibers, and maybe that's an idea for another time. But if you buy any yarn, it's 100% silk, not recycled silk, then it will tend to be very, very expensive because of what it takes to produce it. Bye, Wilma. Thanks for joining. So I want to talk a little bit about cruelty-free. So a lot of the yarns that I mentioned up until now, not considering the cellulose one, so silk and all the wools, they are all animal-based fibers. And needless to say, anything that comes from animal-based fibers, there are the more friendly farms, and the ones that, like Denise mentioned before, are something that came out of our worst nightmares. So I personally really like to look into where the yarn comes from. Of course, when you buy big box and you just go to, I don't know, one of those huge stores with a huge yarn aisles, it's very hard to know, and you can assume that even if you call, I don't know, Lion Brand's customer service, I'm not sure they can tell you how exactly their wool, the animals they get the wool from, are being handled, because Lion Brand themselves are not, you know, the ones producing. They have some factory in Turkey that produces their yarns, and then it's been shipped over, and eventually the one at the end of the line, the farm that grows the sheep that makes the wool, it's somewhere that, you know, they're not really in direct contact to. So it's more like the small businesses that you buy from, or that you can look into where and how their fibers are being made. And if that is something that's important to you, if that is something that that you put thought into, or something that you how do you say, that you give, oh, come on, priority. That is something that you give priority to. Thank you. My God, my words sometimes just escape me. So if it is something that you give priority to, there are ways to find out where the yarn come from. Of course, again, not talking huge big box stores or huge companies. I can tell you that Hobby lately, in the last few months, they started, yes, Judy, concerned about, definitely, yes. So Hobby, in the last few months, they in the new yarns that they get, if it's some kind of a wool mix, they do tend to write where the wool is coming from, and sometimes you can like get a feel of how exactly things are made. Is the information readily available to find out what sources are used and where the yarn come from? Well, that's exactly what I'm talking about. You need to know who you're talking to. So not all yarn companies will make available the information of how the animals are being handled. Especially, like I said, big companies that sell massive amounts. They don't often, have, not only that they don't put it out there, sometimes they won't even have the information of how exactly things are being made and when and what, and sometimes they don't care, which is even worse. But for those of us who do care, and those of us who are concerned about this, and those of us who do occupy ourselves with the thought how things are being made, you can definitely contact sellers. You can definitely contact companies. There are ways to find out when you go online on the company's website. If it's something that's important for you to know, you can just email them. And sometimes you'll get a message of like, we don't know, or we don't care, or I don't know. Or if their message back to you sounds a little bit too, automatic and robotic to you, then you can get the idea. But I do recommend contacting the people, especially if you buy in a small local yarn stores from local sellers, or if you go to fiber festivals and actually get yarn from the people who raised the sheep, the alpacas, or the rabbits, then you can really get a feel and an idea of how things are being made. And I think that's important. It's important to check at least. Some companies in the past few years have started marking their yarns with a special mark that says that it's cruelty-free. So you can look for that. Not all companies that do it, but some do already. And I wish it was a requirement, but sadly, in the world we live in today, it's not yet a requirement. But you can definitely look for that. You can definitely ask for that. You can look for that on the website. Sometimes the mark won't be on the yarn, but if you go on the company website in their About Us section, then you will see all the different certifications that they have, and then you can see if they are certified with the cruelty-free tag. Another thing you can do is check out in local fiber, farmers who produce the fiber themselves. A lot of times they will be there to give the information. If you are on fiber festivals or buying from a small business, a lot of times there's someone to talk to get that information. Is it cruelty free? Even silk. You can get cruelty-free silk, which is actually made from the cocoons after the silkworm has left it. They don't actually have to kill the worm in order to get the cocoons. That can be done. Not all companies do it. Not everyone who produces silk does it, but the ones who cares do. And another thing that's important to know is yarns that are marked or are promoted as eco-friendly or bio-friendly yarns are mostly yarns that come from these kind of farms, the ones who are cruelty-free. Okay, I haven't seen the chat move in a while now, so I don't know if you guys are not commenting or if it's just not moving on my side. So any kind of comments about anything that I just said would be appreciated so that I know that you guys are still there. So anyone who can say anything right now really will very much help me before I move on. Helen, hi! Hello, Helen. Thank you for joining. Thank you for being here today. I highly appreciate you joining us. And if you're just joining in, we're right at the end of talking about what are the qualities of different kinds of fibers so that when we buy yarn online, we know what to look for. Hello there. Hi. Okay, you're still with me, at least some of you. So I'm going to finish. Okay, everyone's listening. That's great. So I'm going to finish talking about the synthetic fibers. I don't have a lot of synthetic fibers on my list, just the main ones that we see mostly. And after we finish talking about all the fibers, we're going to look at some websites and see how can we determine if this yarn, what are we going to get when we see that yarn. So synthetic fibers, well, the king of synthetic fiber is acrylic. Acrylic yarn is made from polymer that is manufactured as a filament. There is it is then cut into strands similar to wool, which is then spun into yarn. In general, characteristics include quick dry, easy wash, and resistance to chemical, as well as resistant to moth. Acrylic is very commonly used in yarn by itself, as well as in combination with other fibers. So a lot of times you will get an acrylic something blend, acrylic wool blend, acrylic cotton blend, acrylic something else blend. Due to the different methods of manufacturing and various processes that acrylic yarn can go through, it can be anywhere from rough to soft. It can have halos sometimes, even though it's acrylic. Can has very different densities and textures. It can be a very high stitch definition or very elastic. It has, so acrylic is like the big question mark. And so when buying yarn online, when we see acrylic, if it's acrylic by itself, that would be one of those yarns that would be the hardest to determine what it will be like when we actually feel it. If it's an acrylic something blend, and we can look at that other something, which will probably be one of the fibers that we just talked about, and then we will say, oh, so it will have this softness of the merino, or it will have this durability of the cotton. But if it's just acrylic by itself, you can have two 100% acrylic yarns, one next to the other, and it will be completely different. And that is why acrylic is such a risk when you buy it without feeling it. I think that would be, out of all the yarns that we just spoke about, that would be the hardest yarn to buy online. Okay, people are waving at me to say they're still there. Acrylic, like I said, it's very hard to determine what it will bring into the mix. And so in terms of an acrylic mix, I would more look at what it is mixed with in order to think what the yarn will be like. And if it's 100% acrylic, it's a bet. Nylon fibers are exceptionally strong and elastic. So nylon bring elasticity into everything. All those fingering weight yarns that we talked about, merino nylon blend, BFL nylon blend, the nylon brings this elasticity to the yarn. There are nylon yarns are easy to wash as well as to dry, and they provide the smoothness, the softness, and this lightweight fabric, and that has like high resilience. That's what nylon brings into a mix. And the last one I want to talk about is polyester. And polyester, just like acrylic, the feel and density of polyester yarns have so many different variations. However, some characteristics are common to all polyester yarns. So all polyester yarns are abrasion resistant, they dry quickly, they are durable and strong, and they are wrinkle resistant. So polyester brings those into the mix. But once again, just like with acrylic, if you buy something that's 100% polyester, there can be two different 100% polyester yarns. You can put them one next to the other, and other than those basic qualities that I just mentioned, the feel of them will be completely different. And so in general, the synthetic fibers will bring those qualities into mixes of yarns, but by themselves, it will be very hard to determine what they feel like without actually touching them. Okay, so those are all the fibers that I wanted to mention and all the fiber qualities that I wanted to talk about. And before we move on, I'm gonna read a little bit of the chat, and then we're gonna move on to how to determine what the yarn weight will be. Okay, people have said hello, so you're all still here. That's good. Denise is listening while she's cooking. Tris is making breakfast. Yeah, you go, you guys, you go, you eat. Yeah, I'll just babble along here. Cynthia says, good information. My budget requires me to buy less expensive yarns. Yeah, you know, you can get those online as well. Angela is still listening. Everyone's still here listening. Catherine says, it's true. It's easier to find out with small businesses. Yes, that's about the cruelty-free. The origin of the wool can be an indication. So New Zealand and Australia aren't guaranteed molasses-free. South America is. Oh, that's good to know. I did not know that. Lori saying she's listening. She's learning a lot. Thanks so much. I love you guys being here. I love you listening, and I'm very happy that you like the subject. And Petra is here. Hello, Petra. Hi, welcome. Glad to have you here, Petra. Thank you for joining me. I'm here. Tris is finding difference in citrons, very stuck as well. Oh, okay, sorry. Now I understand what you're about. So some soft and some are very rough. Yeah, acrylic is the biggest gamble. Even when you have the opportunity to feel it before you buy, it can feel totally different when working with it. Yes, that's definitely true. Yeah, Tris, I got that you were saying cotton. I was like, what is she talking about citrons? But then when I continued reading, I understood that you meant to say cottons. How the heck did you become Yarnipedia? Gary, I am just I think that yarny things in general and crochet and knitting in particular are pretty much my main hobby. Before I became a mom, I was hiking a lot. I still go hiking and I still go into nature, but not as much as I used to. And so now my main spare time hobby is yarn. Everything that has to do with yarn. And just like with anything else that I do in my life, when I have an interest in something, I go into it and I research it and I learn about it. I acquire knowledge. I love to do that. I've always been the geeky student. Yes, my high school is all A's and my degrees is all A's, and I'm kind of a nerd. So right now I'm a yarn nerd. Before I started crocheting and knitting, my main free time activity was hiking, and I was even I got to the point where I was leading a hiking group. I would be the hike leader every second weekend, and we did that for years and years and years. And then I got into route plannings and nature and animals and every hobby that I get into, I research it that way. It's just the way I am. And I had this YouTube channel for over a year now, and after doing many yarn reviews and tutorials and a lot of things that you can see in a lot of other channels, I realized that maybe my spot, maybe my niche, maybe my corner here is all this amazing knowledge that I have gained and curated in my head, and maybe there are other people out there that can gain from this knowledge. So I'm here talking to you guys about it. And I'm very happy that you guys are interested in listening to me. Bye, Lashira, if you're still here to hear me say bye to you. Probably wrote it a few minutes ago, so bye. Thank you for joining. I really appreciate you guys being here. Everyone's saying hello. When we invest as much as we do in our supplies, it is good to have as much information as possible. Exactly, Julie, I agree. Anne says South African mohair and merino is all produced in cruelty-free farms. We also produce a great deal of alpaca all produced cruelty free. That is very good to know. Thank you, Anne. What is my university degree? Catherine says, Geeks Unite. Thanks, Anne. That's great to know. Okay, do you really want to know, Lori? So I studied a few things. Right after the army, I was born and I grew up in Israel. For those of you who don't know, right now I live in Germany since 10 years now. But as an Israeli, I had to go to the army when I was 18. And when I finished the army, fresh out of the army, moved into the big city of Tel Aviv. And the first thing I did was to go to pastry school. And I'm a certified pastry chef. And following that, I went to university and I studied biology for a while before I moved to Germany. And since then, I am a full-time mom and I am loving every minute of it. And, you know, I'm a hiker and I'm a crocheter and I'm a yarny person and I'm a wine drinker. So, yeah. All right. So, all right, we finished talking about our fibers and we're gonna move on to the next thing that we want to know when we buy yarn. Someone in the beginning, when I asked you guys what is the biggest thing or your biggest problem when buying yarn online is, then someone mentioned the yarn weights, that how different websites or different companies classify yarn weights differently, or on their website it will show up as a worsted, and then when it comes to you it will be something the more similar what you are used to as sport yarn. There's also a big difference between yarns produced in different countries or yarn produced in different continents. So it is something that's very hard to determine when you don't have the yarn in your hands in front of you. Catherine, I'm a woman of many talents. I'd like to think so. You'd love to go to pastry school? It was one of the best times. And I think everyone who knows me or close to me or is in my life right now is benefiting from me going to pastry school. Yeah, so how to determine the yarn weights? Well, I have prepared for you a little cheat sheet. And I'm going to show you something right now. And I hope that it will be a huge, oh my God, how did I not have this before moment? For some of you at least. All right. So what do we have here? Lori, very science and math based. Yeah, how fiber behaves and the process of creating the yarn is right in. Exactly. It's right in my, it's right up there on my, oh my God, German words run into my head when I want to talk English. It's right up, it's right in my corner. Right. Catherine, you're a pastry chef too and you never bake at home? Oh my God. What a waste. All right, so cheat sheet, everyone. What we want to look at in this table here that I have for you guys is this here. This says metrage per 100 grams, which means how many meters per 100 gram of yarn. Right up my alley, exactly, Tris. That's what I was going for. Or for your Americans, yards per 100 grams. And here on this side, we have the yarn weights. or the symbol, and then here the yarn weights. And we have from lace all the way to jumbo, so it's 0 all the way to 7. And here we have how many meters per 100 grams or yards per 100 grams make it a lace yarn, how many make it a fingering, how many make it a sport, how many make it a DK. So when you go on the website, someone said something about my nerdiness. You love my nerdiness. Oh, thank you. So when we go on the website to buy our yarn, and we see a yarn and it says it's a sport weight, how do we know if it's the kind of sport weight that we are used to? How do we know if they say sport weight and I think sport weight, if we're talking about the same thing? So to know that, or to get a better feel, we have this table here that we can compare. And we always can use the yarns that we already have at home. So if I want to buy, if I'm online looking to buy a worsted weight yarn, and I have worsted weight yarn at home, the one I'm used to work with or the ones I like to work with, I can compare the yardage or the content and yardage. The content is important, and I'll talk about it in a second, sorry. But I can compare the yardage on my worsted weight ball of yarn and what this ball of yarn that I'm looking at on the website is, and by comparing the two, I can see if I'm getting more or less the same thing. But we do have to consider both things together. So we have this table here with the yardage per 100 grams, and we have the contents that we spoke about before. And we need to know that worsted weight acrylic and worsted weight cotton can be the same yarn weight, but have different yardage. Why? Because the fiber itself is either heavier or lighter. So this one weighs more than this one, and we will have 100 grams of worsted weight cotton and 100 grams of worsted weight acrylic, but they will have different length in them because the fiber content makes the yarn heavier or lighter. And so we have to take both of these into the equation when I'm looking to buy yarn online. So of course the easiest way would be if I have a yarn online, if I have a yarn at home that I want to compare this yarn that I'm looking for online, to just take that yarn, have it next to me and compare the information. But in case I don't have it, or I'm shopping for a yarn that I've never tried before, then the information that I just gave you guys about the fibers in combination with this table here should help us. And how do we do it? We will demonstrate in a second on a few websites. So back to me. Let's see if you guys had anything to say about that amazing table that I just showed you guys. Catherine says it's very handy. Yes. By the way, I have mentioned it last week. I'm going to mention it again. Starting in January, my blog, my written blog, is going to go live. Once it's out there, once it's live, once it's actually goes on and I keep writing on there every week, then I will let you guys know. And one of the first topics, because I already have this live stream written down to be one of the first posts on the blog. So all the information that I'm giving you guys in this live stream will become available on my blog once the blog goes live in January. And so this cheat sheet will be in there as well as all the information about the fibers that I just mentioned. Carrie says, I want to be like you when I grow up. Thank you, Carrie. Where can you get this chart? So like I said, right now, if you want it, email me and I'll mail it to you, okay? But if you are okay with waiting until January, then it will be either the first or the second post on my blog will have all the information from today's live as well as this chart in there. Fellow geek here, Julie, retired teacher, degrees in choral music, mathematics, and technology. Wow. Impressive, Julie. Catherine, you're still here. Helen said she took a picture with a phone. Oh yeah, that's useful. If you are on your phone or even in your computer, you know, you can screenshot. I can put it up again and you guys can screenshot it. Well, I will put it up again a few times in a second because we're going to practice everything I just told you. But here it is. For all of you guys who want to take a screenshot right now, you can take a screenshot of your screen so that you can save it for later. Kathy took a photo of it with her phone as well. I'm very happy that I could provide you guys with this very useful chart. And like I said, in just a few minutes, I'm going to practice with you guys on a few different websites, and so that you can learn how to combine the information that I have just fed you in the last 2 hours, apparently. Wow. For those of you who are with me for the past 2 hours, I'm impressed by you guys. So in a minute, we're going to go over a few websites and practice this together. Okay, so I hope that all of you who wanted to take a screenshot did. We're gonna go back to me for 1 second. And I'm gonna ask you guys, I have 3 websites that I've already looked into and gotten some examples out of so that I can show you guys how it works. But if you have specific websites that you had problems with in the past, that you ordered from and got something which was completely different from the picture, from the description, let me know what websites were problematic for you and why. If you have had, you know, problems with different websites that you ordered from, repeatable problems like they are always off in the yarn weights, or their descriptions are hard to understand, or you find that they don't classify the yarns the way you are used to, or things like that. So just share with me in the chat so that we can, you know, resolve those problems and make it easier for you guys to shop for yarn online. Tris has to go. The baby needs to be fed. Okay. Need the kids, definitely. You'll come back and watch a replay. Thank you, Tris. I'm very happy that you could join me today, and I'm very happy you were here. And cheers to you, and have a nice day, and hugs to your baby. Lori says we are in Yarniversity. I should change my channel name. It's very catchy, Yarniversity. Or maybe I will name this like live stream series Yarniversity. So it will be like Yarniversity 1-on-1, Yarniversity lesson 1, vegan fibers, like we did 2 weeks ago, Yarniversity lesson 2, and so on. Thank you, Tris. Thanks for being here. I very much appreciate it. I like Yarniversity. I have to do something with that, and Lori, I'll give you full credit for coming up with that. Okay, I want to remind you all, you want to enroll. Do you love charts? Yes, me too. They make everything make sense. Before we move on to practicing on some website, nobody said anything about a specific website, but someone said Ice Yarns in the beginning, and Ice Yarns is actually one of the websites I wanted to show you guys now. So if you have other websites that you specifically want to talk about, let me know. I just want to remind you all, if you want a chance of winning the 2 balls of the Lily yarn, which is a viscose linen mix. Don't forget, go back to the live stream from 2 weeks ago, not last week's live, not the game show, the one from 2 weeks ago about the vegan fibers. Go back and comment which one was your favorite, which one you wanted to try, or which one you tried and liked or did not like. And at the end of today's live stream, I will draw a winner from the comments on that live stream. And we will have, of course, a giveaway on today's live stream as well. So on today's giveaway, you have the chance to win this wonderful yarn. Look at these colors. Isn't that beautiful? And this is very true to color because I have a very good camera. This is from Darn Good Yarn. And for those of you who don't know, I am an affiliate of Darn Good Yarn. However, I don't have any kind of, contract with them or whatever. I'm not saying only good things about them. And if you watch my channel or you are a constant viewer, then you know that I have more than once also said, I've said good things and bad things about them. So it's not, you can believe me when I tell you I am an affiliate. So if you do shop on Darn Good Yarn, I would very much appreciate it if you use my link to shop there. I do get a small kickback out of that. However, that does not stop me from telling you the truth about what I think of Darn Good Yarn. So if you want to win this yarn, the yarn from today's giveaway, it is 50 grams, 230 yards, and it is classified as a lace weight, and it's a 4-ply recycled silk. So hand wash only silk, remember? We just spoke about that. And that is the hank of yarn that you can win in today's giveaway. And the way to win this is after this live stream is over. Not now, not in the chat. After the live stream is over, come back to the replay and comment down below. So wait until the live stream is finished. Come back to the same video when it's on replay and leave a comment in the comment section below. And next live, I will draw a winner for this one. And for this one, I will be drawing today in just a little bit. Lori says Yarnipedia is good too. Playlist names, yes. Oh, that's a good idea. Judy, watching the unboxings helps you. She shows the weight and comments on it. Yeah, Judy, I have on my channel many yarn reviews and unboxings of yarn. However, I feel like if I shop on Hobby and I do an unboxing and I show you what I buy and I show you the yarn and I tell you all the specs, then I pretty much tell you about the yarns that I bought. However, if you go on yourself on the website and look at all the yarns, then you will only have information about what I bought and what I told you about. And I want to give you the tools to shop for any yarn on the website, not just yarn that other people bought and talked about. People like that yarn. Kathy, how do you wind hanks of yarn? You mean how do you wind them into cakes, or how do you make them into hanks? If you mean how to take a hank and make it into a cake, you need a yarn cake or a yarn ball or yarn. How is it called? A yarn cake thingy. It's like a Swift. A Swift is this. Ooh, I have one, but I cannot show it to you because it's over there and the cabinet is blocked by something which will be added here later on. But you need a Swift and a yarn winder, I think it's called. Is two applications that goes together and they cake the yarn into cakes. Catherine, you're definitely learning a lot, especially about the alternative fabrics. I'm happy. A yarn winder, yes, exactly. That's what it's called. Thank you, Catherine. I'm trilingual, so I'm a lot of times it's very hard for me to get my thoughts in line. I want to talk English, but the German words or the Hebrew words come into my head, and I just can't get the translation right. Swift and ball winder, yeah. Make them into cakes. So yes, Kathy, that's a swift and a yarn winder or ball winder. Unapologetically Mocha, hi, thank you for joining. She says she uses the back of 2 chairs or the legs of 1 chair. And the knees too, on a chair, and hand wind the ball. Yeah, Catherine, I'm only 34, but I have done a lot up until now. Okay, so let's practice, you guys, okay? So what we're going to do is I'm gonna go together with you guys to a website, and we're going to look at some yarn, and then we're going to put both variables that we learned about, the content of the yarn, the fiber, and that handy dandy cheat sheet that I made for you guys, and we're gonna put those both together, and we're gonna check the websites and see if we understand what we're buying. Hi Mary, or Marianne's Crochet Hands. Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining me today. So let's go into hobby, because you know that's the one I know the most about. So I'm gonna start with hobby, but I have a few websites to show you guys. So first of all, again, if you guys, I am not affiliated with hobby in any way. God knows I tried. But if you guys are not yet customers of hobby, in my personal opinion, it is the best online website to get yarn from. I mean, mass-produced yarn, not all those specialty hand-dyed and so on, which I prefer to buy from small independent businesses. But if you buy, you know, mass product, big box yarns, this is should be your to-go store if it delivers to your country. It's very sadly does not deliver worldwide. I thought it delivers worldwide, but then during some of my last lives, people have mentioned that they do not ship to their country. So I'm sorry in advance if they don't ship to your country. I will also talk about other companies. It's just the first one I'm going to mention today. And another thing I want to mention is they recently started their you can see here, membership on their website, Hobby Family. It's completely free to sign up, and with every purchase you make on the website, you gain points, which you can then use in their point shop to get different things which are not available to people on the website who are not members. And you buy them with your points and not with money. So the more points you gain, different things that you can get. So if you buy on Hobby or plan to buy on Hobby and you're not yet a member of the Hobby family, there is a link in the description box below which will take you directly to the sign up into the Hobby family. And I will very much appreciate it if you go through that link. Again, I'm not affiliated with them, but that specific link will give me points. And by the way, later on, once you are signed up to the program, you will get a link of your own too. So anyone in the Hobby family membership can invite their friends using their link and gain points from that. But if you're not yet signed up and wanna, I would really much appreciate it if you do it through my link so that I can get the points. I'm not affiliated with them and I don't get anything from it other than points to buy on the website. Okay, so I wanted to talk about hobby and how to shop on their website using all the information that we just got. So one of Hobby's most popular yarns are their rainbow cotton yarns, and they are available in 3 different weights. They classified it as 8x4, 8x6, and 8x8, which are supposedly fingering weight, lightweight, and worsted weight. And we're going to check that along with the information that we got. So, rainbow cotton. This is the yarn, and we are on Hobby. So right here under the picture, you will see here, this picture is supposedly showing you the difference in weight between the 8x4, 8x6, and 8x8. So 8x8 being the thicker of the 3 will be what they call a worsted weight cotton. The 8x6 is supposed to be a lightweight or a 3 or a what we call a DK, and an 8x4 is supposedly a fingering weight. And when you go down here, you have all the information about the yarn. So here it says it's 100% cotton. There are 50 grams per ball and 170 meters. So we said cotton. We said cotton is a relatively lighter fabric. It is a cellulose fiber, right? You remember we talked about cellulose fibers. They are more airy, light, and there are 50 grams and 170 meters per ball, which makes it 340 meters per 100 grams. So we take that information and we go to our cheat sheet, and we had 100 grams and 340 meters. So 340 meters and 100 grams fall in here. So they classified it as fingering weight. However, with our information, we can see that it will be perhaps fingering weight because cotton, light, there might be more yardage in there than there should, but it will be on the thicker side of fingering weight, or more to the sport weight direction. So I hope that what I just said makes it clear of how to take those 2 variables and make them into one info. So if I shop on Hobby and I see this information, then Hobby says it's a super fine yarn, which is their words of saying it is a fingering weight. I mean, okay, a guide to how to read Hobby yarn weights is a whole other live but it's their way of calling it a fingering weight. Super fine, that's what they call it. However, we can see that in terms of weight to length, it falls within the sport weight. So taking into consideration that cotton being the yarn or the fiber that it is, and our cheat sheet together, we can say that it might be somewhere between those 2. So it will be a fine yarn, like a fingering weight, but on the thicker side. So it's not thick enough to be considered a sport weight, but also not a regular, very, very light thin. All right. Before I move on, I want to know if what I just said was clear enough and if you guys could work it into usable information. So let me know in the chat. Chris is saying she's learning so much today. You're weaving ends on granny square poncho, making me want to pull out my hair. Oh, I hate weaving in ends. Why must I make something with so many ends for a late Christmas present? Christy, I don't know why you must, but yeah, weaving in ends is like, I hate it more than ironing, and people who know me know that I hate ironing, so I think it says a lot. Lori says she wished she had that issue of knowing multiple languages and getting mixed up. I have not mastered even 2 yet, and you're 51. Lori, I learned my third language, German. I learned it quite late in my life. So I grew up in Israel, so I speak Hebrew. I studied Arabic in high school, but from the second I took my final exam, I did not use it again. So I can maybe make up things people say if I watch it on TV, but I cannot speak or write it anymore. I might be able to read it, but I won't necessarily know what it means. So my second language is English, which me and my brothers sort of spoke at home. We decided at a very young age that we want to speak English, and so we started watching all the TV shows and all the movies without subtitles. And so both me and my brothers, we speak English pretty well. And German is the third language, and I learned it when I came here to Germany. So in the past 10 years, 2012 was when I moved to Germany, and that's when I started learning German. And I think German was the biggest struggle of the three, because it's a hard language. And it always sounds like someone saying bad things to you, no matter what they say. Catherine says she knows a different language problem a lot. Yes, you get mixed up too. Hi, Inya's Toy Box. Hi, thank you for joining us. Lori says you need two kids, one to hold the hang and one to roll up the ball. It's a good method. That is a very good solution, yes. Inya says you bought it. It is sport weight, no fingering. You talking about the rainbow cotton? Yeah, that is the exercise we just did. Catherine says it's very interesting. You always look at the weight and length, but I never took the fiber into consideration. Yeah, you have to, because worsted weight, 100 grams of worsted weight merino wool and 100 grams of worsted weight cotton don't have the same length, because one is heavier to begin with. So they will both be 100 grams, but one of them will have less fiber in it. Same with tencel. Tencel is a very, very light, airy fiber. So if you get 100 grams of worsted weight tencel, the length that you have might be longer than when you get 100 grams of worsted weight cotton, because tencel is lighter and airier. Debbie saying the chart is helpful. Carrie says you need me with you when you do yarn shopping. Maybe I can sit on your shoulder. Unapologetically Mwaka says anything that makes navigating Hobie's yarn weights is appreciated. I ended up ordering 5 other sample packages just so I could have a semblance of a clue of what it's getting. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, grammar, German grammar is the worst. Yes, Hobie has the way they classify their weights and fibers is a science of its own. Like I buy from Hobie all the time, so I can tell you, but it won't help if I will just tell you. It's something you need to learn. Like, this is what this live is for. You have to take all the variables into consideration and ignore what the company is saying. The same with ice yarns, which will be the next one that we'll do. So just, give me a nudge or something, that what I said about how to put both variable together is helpful. And if my husband is still watching, I'm sorry. I know the final of The Voice of Germany has just started now, and I was supposed to be finished by the time it started, because this is the first time ever in my life that I have followed a whole season of The Voice of Germany. God knows why this season and not any of the other ones. but we have actually followed it from the auditions all the way until now and watched it constantly, and today is the final. So it started about 10 minutes ago, and well, he's probably not watching me anymore because he's watching The Voice, but but I'll finish what I plan to do, and then I will kindly say goodbye to you guys. You guys know I normally go on Saturday because on Sunday is The Voice. All right, so I'm just waiting for you guys to give me a nudge and say that what I said until now was clear of how to combine the variables and put them together so that we can go on and do another example on another website. And the next one we'll talk about will be ice yarns. All right. So ice yarns. First thing you need to know about ice yarns is ice yarns are a manufacturer for a lot of very big companies. So a lot of the yarns that you'll see on Ice Yarns website can actually be found you dread ice yarn. All right. A lot of the yarns that you see on Ice Yarn websites can actually be found on other companies of course, with that company's label on it. So many times, if you already have or have seen one of those yarns from another company, if you have a good enough eye to realize that it's that, then this will be helpful for you. The thing is, they are a manufacturer and they sell to all the big companies. So you will find yarns on the website that look a lot like mandala yarn, or like the Jaipur yarn on Hobby, or just different yarns that are sold by, or premier yarns, different yarns that are sold by the big companies. And when you look at the website or on Ice Yarns, on the pictures, you say, oh, this looks a lot like that. And the reason is that it is that. Ice Yarns are the manufacturer, and aside from only selling to the companies, they also sell the yarns by themselves with their label on. So if you have that information, if you know those yarns, then it will be very easy for you to look at the yarns on Ice Yarns and say, oh, that is a lot like the Red Heart, what are they called? Oh, the name of that yarn escapes me. But let's go with mandala. Oh, this is a lot like the mandala yarn in this and that. So I know more or less what this yarn is like. Or this, you will see yarns on the Ice Yarns website that are a lot like the twirls on Hobby. And if you buy twirls on Hobby, or if you have experience with those kind of yarns, and you will look one by one and say, oh yeah, that is the same yarn. So if you have that information, then it helps. But if you don't, that's what we're here for. So let's go into Ice Yarns, and just for a checkup. Yeah, so these are the latest yarns that they have on the website at the moment. These hand-dyed superwash merino yarns that they just came up with. A lot of people were really excited about that. So let's check those out. So these are 100% superwash merino wool. We spoke about superwash merino. We know what that means. And they are two hanks in each pack, and they sell 2 hanks of yarn for $13.99. So on its own, put like that, you say, oh, I get 2 hanks of hand-dyed superwash merino wool for $13.99. It's a very good price. And they classified it as a medium or worsted weight yarn. So let's check. We know what superwash merino is, and we know we have 100 grams per hank, and we know there are 200 meters in each hank. So we are going to go to our cheat sheet. And we look here and we say, okay, they said 100 grams, 200 meters. Where does that fall? It falls here, between 180 to 240 meters per hank. And that is indeed worsted to medium weight. So we are within, exactly within the examples that we gave. So we know when we look at that yarn here on Ice Yarns, and we thinking if we want to buy it, by doing that comparison, we know we will get exactly what we expect to get. So that is very helpful. Specifically on Ice Yarns, more things that can be helpful to you are pictures, because they take a lot of close-up pictures of the yarns. So if you have an eye for it and you ever worked with superwash merino before, then you can look at the picture and you can even enlarge it here and see, yeah, that actually does look like the superwash merino that I'm used to, so I know more or less what I'm getting. And if you are a knitter specifically, that very much helps. And a lot of their yarns, they have like a swatch picture of what the yarn would look like when it's knitted. Of course, it will look different when it's crochet. Another thing Ice Yarn does, and that helps me a lot of times, but again, it's something you need the eye for. They give you a picture of the yarn next to a knitting needle, and in this case it's a 5mm knitting needles, which is the needles that you will need for that yarn. And you can see the comparison between the thickness of the yarn and the thickness of the needle. And if you are inexperienced, again, that's information that's only helpful to people who are experienced knitters or crocheters and have the eye for that kind of stuff. Then you can say, yeah, that looks like it fits. However, a lot of times when you look at Ice Yarns, you will get yarns that don't fit. And now we will give an example to that. But before we give an example to that, in the beginning of the live stream, when I asked you guys about companies that you had problems with, someone did mention Ice Yarns and said that they had exactly that problem. So someone mentioned that they bought from Ice Yarns and was classified as one weight, but was actually a different weight. So please, if you are that person and you're still here, if that person is still with us, I would very much like for you to tell me in the chat which yarn was it that you had problems with, and we're gonna go and do the exercise on that yarn. Catherine says Habib was lurking and didn't say hi. Schade. Yeah, sometimes he lurks, not every time. Carrie, Super Saver. What did you mean with Super Saver? Can you please let me know? Catherine says she likes that they make the picture with the needle in it. It gives a good idea. Yeah, I actually had a few times on Ice Yarns when that picture with the needle was what determined for me that yarn was not in fact classified correctly. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys one more yarn on ice. I just want to real quick find it. All right. So okay, so let's all look at this yarn. It is called Fluffy Wool Superfine Light Gray. Light gray is the color. Fluffy Wool Superfine is the yarn. And It is 25% wool and 77% acrylic and 3% elastan. And remember what we said about wool acrylic blends. You need to look at what does the wool bring into the mix, what does the acrylic put into the mix. So when we look at that yarn, just by looking at the picture, we can see that it has a lot of fluff. So it doesn't say here what kind of wool it is in the mix, so we cannot assume, and we don't know if it will be a soft yarn or not, because we said acrylic is kind of a joker. It can also be very soft, and it can also sometimes be not so soft or a little bit rough. And we're also talking about 20% wool, which we don't know what wool it is. So we see a fluff around the yarn, but we don't know if it will be the Angora kind of fluff, or is it like a scratchy kind of fluff? Maybe it's Icelandic wool. It doesn't say. So this yarn on its own, just from reading the specs, is a big question mark for me. Then we go to the picture with the needle. Wait, I'm on the wrong one. So I want to go to the picture with the needle. It shows me here a 3mm knitting needle and the yarn. To me personally, the yarn looks extremely thin for the 3mm needle. And those of you who are knitters or have the eye for it, let me know if you agree or disagree. But another variable that we can look at to determine if it's very, very thin, look here. It says it's 50 grams and 450 meters. 450 meters for 50 grams. That will make it 900 meters per 100 grams. So we go into our little table here. And this table tells us that it's here. It's actually a lace weight. It has 900, so 900 meters per 100 grams falls not only within the lace weight, but way up here within this side of lace weight. So it will be very, very thin, very, very light yarn. And so when we go back to the Ice Yarn website, we see that they classified it as a superfine or sock or fingering weight. But we can see with our eyes when looking at the pictures, and when we compare it to our table, that is way thinner than fingering or sock weight yarn. So if I have bought this because I wanted to make something using fingering weight, I would have been very, very disappointed. And so this is how we put all the information that we learned today into action. All right. Catherine says you find it's usually a bit thinner than what they classified it as on ice. So you think that generally they classify their yarns thicker than they actually are? Jen says, Carrie said super saver because you were talking about Red Heart yarns. Oh, no, I didn't mean Red Heart super saver. I actually meant not landscapes, the other one. What is it called? It's like a roving. Help me here. Yes, Catherine, it is like a lace almost, but maybe it's meant to be knitted airily with a larger needle. That can be, but when I buy it, I want to know what it actually is. Maribel says that table is extremely helpful. Thank you for sharing it. Gladly, that's what I'm here for. And unapologetically, Mocha says, but could the fuzz around the strand add volume? It can add volume, but it let's talk about worsted weight yarns or bulky yarns that we know that have fluff. Okay. My husband actually walked in right now to tell me that the voice is on, in case I forgot. I told him. I didn't forget. I'm just, I'm in the zone. Tell me who won. He's just hysterical. It starts now. Okay, it started 15 minutes ago, but it goes on until midnight. So there's still 4 hours, 4 hours for the show. And I assume 80% of it will be commercials. So I wouldn't miss much. um, Unforgettable. Thank you, Lori. Yes, unforgettable. Exactly. So, unforgettable yarn. That's a wonderful example, by the way. So, Ice Yarns have a lot of yarns on their website that are actually unforgettable, just with an Ice Yarn label on there. However, the unforgettable yarn also has a bit of a halo around it. And I do believe that it is still classified as a medium weight or a worsted weight. So yes, the fluff sort of adds to the bulkiness of the yarn, but but not in a way that it will make it like a totally different yarn weight. I mean, it wouldn't be. Scarfy would still be bulky without that, I hope what I'm saying makes sense. It makes sense in my head, but it's very hard to put into words. Debbie says it's such great knowledge for me to buy online in the future. Love the chart. Thank you. You're welcome. Catherine Little Bishop Stitches says, yes, you do speak English very well. Thank you. Plentiful is fuzzy. You mean the... I'm sorry, I'm not following. Totally hear you on the German language sounding mean. Yes, when people speak German to me, it always sounds like they're mad, even if they're saying nice things. On the other hand, being mad in German sounds way worse. Like when you're mad and you speak German, it sounds way worse than how bad it actually is. Catherine says she agrees. No matter how they want you to use the yarn, the specs are what they are. Exactly. So if it's a lace, it needs to be classified as a lace weight. You can add notes saying that to get a wonderful lacy effect, use larger needles, but the yarn weight is what it is. If Germany's The Voice is like the US version, the first 3 hours is a recap of the season and performances from other guests. Won't know the winner until the last 15 minutes of the show. Yes, it is exactly like that. And I mean, again, I'm a full-time mom, so anything after 9 p.m. is mostly me sleeping on the couch. So, I mean, I would find out who the winner is tomorrow morning anyway. Barking, yes. Plentiful. The yarn from Premiere. Oh, I don't know. Merry Christmas, Angela. Plentiful yarn from Michaels has a halo. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Like I said, I don't live in the US. I don't have access to those yarns, so I don't know yarns that are not sold internationally. Lori says it is clear several companies use the same factory in Turkey to buy their yarns. Yes, that's true. Put their own label on it. Michael's Loops and Threads Barcelona is the same as Premier Puzzle. Exactly, that's true. And Lori, there are so many several examples to that. Specifically, if you look behind me on the shelf, you will see all the cakes on the bottom. All of these cakes, they are all the same yarn. However, there are 3 different companies. So one of them is Hobby, the Hobby Twister. The other one is Yarn Art Flowers, And the third one is a company that's sold locally, and I don't remember what it's called, and I haven't seen it anywhere. Oh, no one else that I spoke to internationally knows this company. However, they are all the exact same specs. They feel exactly the same, and they have, when you go on the website and you look at the colorways, they have exactly the same colorways, and they are all made in Turkey. So they're very openly all made in the same factory. However, Hobby Twister mostly costs anywhere between 16 euros and I think 21 when it's not on any kind of discount. Yarn Art Flowers, which is the exact same yarn, costs between 7 euros and 8 euros. So you see the price difference. Why? Because one is yarn art and one is hobby, but they are the exact same yarn and they're made in the same factory. So this specific yarn is not ice yarn. However, there are many other examples of the exact same thing, which are also sold on ice yarns, specifically mandala cakes. For those of you who don't know, I'm going to find it for you now, just for the sake of the discussion. Cake yarns. Ice yarns is one of the hardest websites to navigate. But there it is. Okay. If you guys don't know this, here's some useful information. Here is Ice Yarns Cakes Decay. This one is called Gray Shades, Mint Green White. And for those of you who know the Lion brand Mandala, this is what this is called Genie, the colorway Genie. That's that. We go a little lower and you'll see all the colorways available in the Ice Yarns ZK. I'm sure you guys can recognize the different colorways. These are regular mandala cakes. Or I don't know how much a mandala cake costs in the States, but here on the Ice Yarns you get 2 cakes for $4.99. It's not like, it is that yarn. The Lion brand mandala yarn is made in that factory. They ship it over, they put a different label on it, and they sell it in the States. So if you look at the Ice Yarn website and you say, oh, that looks a lot like mandala, but I prefer my Lion brand, it is exactly the same yarn. Yeah, so just, useful information. Carrie asks, can I buy the Cotton Kings cakes on ice? Which one do you mean? The twirls? I don't know about Twirls Deluxe because I didn't find any on Ice Yarns. It looks like the Twirls Deluxe, but definitely the regular twirls. Who sells yarn art? Maribel, I have a whole okay, next week's live is all about websites you don't know to get good cheap yarn. And I'm going to talk about several websites that sell yarn art next week. So, but I will answer your question because I don't like to do a tease and leave people hanging. So, who sells yarn art? There's a website called Yarn Street, and if I will remember, I will put the link to it in the description box below this video after it goes into replay. But if you look for Yarn Street, I think it's just yarnstreet.com, but I'm not sure. It's a website they are based in where are they based? In Catherine, help me. Catherine, you're here in the chat. Help me. Where are Yarn Street based? I totally forgot. It's somewhere here in Europe. They ship internationally, however, and they sell yarn art, all their different yarns. They don't exclusively sell yarn art. They sell all kinds of yarns, but they do sell all the yarns from yarn art and very, very good prices. It's called Yarn Street. Yes. You know what? We're already here, you know. Yarn Street. Let me just show it to you real quick. I'm going to talk about it extensively next week, but there it is. Yarn Street, it's just yarnstreet.com, one word.com, and they sell Nako, they sell yarn, yarn art, and you can see they have a lot. You can go by composition: wool, acrylic, cotton, polyamide, alpaca, premium acrylic, polyester, mohair, all the different fibers we spoke about. Or you can go by brand, and you can see that they sell the what we here in Germany call Alize, and you guys there in the US probably called Alize, and Nako and Yarn Art. So they have really all the yarns from Yarn Art. And well, when you start getting into it, you will see that a lot of the Yarn Art yarns will look very similar to yarns that you guys know from the States, because we spoke about it. A lot of them are made in the same factories and in the same ways, in the same colorways. And here it is, Yarn Art flowers. And if you shop on Hobby regularly, then you know. Look, this is exactly the same yarn. It's the same colorways even. It's not even like they have their different different colorways or different. It's the same. It's exactly the same yarn. It's called Yarn Art Flowers, and it's sold here on Yarn Street for €8.20. And we're gonna do the game. We're gonna go on Hobby. And we're gonna look for the twister. And twister is sold on Hobby for €16 now. Look at that. It's twice the price. Same colorways. Look at that, guys. I'm gonna go one by one so you can see that is exactly the same. That's this one. And here they are here. You can see I personally, I used, where is it? My twister that I used for this one. The Twister Shadow Rose. That's the one that I used to make my Sis Love half circle shawl, if you guys were following our crochet along that we had. And here it is on Yarn Art Flowers. It's exactly the same yarn. See? 1, 2. It's the same. All right, I hope that was helpful in some way. How do you know if the ice yarn you make translates to a Lion brand or Caron? I found one called Lollipop on Ice. It worked really nicely. I cannot find anything except Baby Lollipop anymore. Yeah, that is one of the problems with ice yarns, because they are the manufacturer and they ship to different companies. They don't always have all of their selection on the website. However, how can you know which yarn it translates in other companies? I personally can't tell you right now because I don't know specifically that yarn, but I'm pretty sure if I will Google the name of the yarn later, I can tell you. So if you want, you can email me your question and I will do the research later on, and I'll send you whatever I can find. But one of the biggest problems with ice yarns is that if you buy yarn from them once, there's no guarantee the next time you come they'll have the same yarn. In Latvia, yes, that's where it is. Yarn Street. It's in Latvia. Lori says it's important to know that about which yarns are the same yarn with different labels. Just another component to consider when ordering, especially with international shipping. Yes, definitely. Lori, I totally agree. Valmiera, Latvia is where these websites is. Yes, exactly. They are in Latvia. Carrie says she's having a big problem with the fingering weight she got. If she put 2 fingerings together, will it be easier to work with? Well, if your problem is that it's too thin, then yeah, if you put 2 fingering weights together, you'll get like a sort of a sport weight, maybe a little thicker sport weight. Yarn Street, never heard of it before. Thanks, Reggie. Yeah. Again, if you are into finding websites with cheap, where to buy good cheap yarn, so good yarn for cheap prices, come next week to my live. Next week will be Saturday again. So I'm normally, if you're new to my channel, it's the first time you join me, my live chats are normally on Saturday. They start at 6 p.m. German time. It is noon Eastern time for you guys in the US. It's 5 p.m. for you guys in the UK. And anyone who's anywhere else in the world, you'll have to do the conversion yourself. Always a few days before the live, I already put up the live stream. So if you see the live stream pop up, you can press on it and see what time it is in your country. I also put the links to it pretty much in every group on Facebook that I'm a member of, as well as my Facebook group. And if you're not yet a member, then you are welcome to join. The link is in the description box below. And so next week's live will be all about places online where you can get good yarn for cheap prices. Carrie says she really wants to make a pretty lacy shawl. She has a problem with the smaller yarns. Yeah, well, lacy sort of speaks to the lighter weights, but if the fingering weight is too light for you, then definitely work with a sport weight, or put 2 of them together and it will become sort of like a thicker sport weight, like somewhere between a sport and a lightweight. You really have to educate yourself to be a savvy shopper. This is super helpful. Yes, it took me years to get it right. But yeah, that's what this live is for. So I can pass this information on to you guys, and you guys can use it the right way. Okay. So the last thing I want to talk about before I draw winners from last week's live, and if you guys didn't yet, this is the last chance to open another window, go to, not last week, sorry, I misspoke, it's 2 weeks ago, the Vegan Yarns live. If you haven't yet, this is your last chance to go back, open another window, open that live stream, and comment underneath, because I am now going to choose the winner. From last week's live. And just to remind you all, 1 second, I have to actually open it. So just to remind you all, the prize for that I'm going to draw for right now is these 2 cakes of yarn, which are a mixture of viscose and linen. They are called Lily, and they are 100 grams and 335 meters per cake, and they are the prize that I'm going to draw for today. And when this live stream is finished, you can come back to the replay and comment underneath, comment whatever you want, And next week on the live, I will draw the winner and they will receive this hank of yarn from Darn Good Yarns. So time to comment is finished, and I am going to get the link from last week's live, and I'm going to put it into the YouTube random comment picker, and there it is. There's a link, and we're going to filter duplicate users, and we're not including replies because I replied to some comments. And okay, so let's get the comments, and there are 24 comments on that specific live. And let's get rid of this ad. I don't want to stop seeing it. And let's start. So the winner of the 2 cakes of yarn is YOH Crochet. You are the winner. Wait, congratulations to you. Gonna go back to me. And these are the 2 cakes that you won, and please email me. My email is in the description box below this video, and email me to get your prize. And even if you have emailed me in the past, and even if we have been in contact and I already have your address, please contact me so that I know that you won and you can claim your prize. So congratulations to you. Hi, Dusty Cat, you're back with us. Catherine says, my tip for working with lace pattern is try the pattern in a yarn you're comfortable with first. When that goes well, switch to the thin yarn and hook. That's a good tip. Thank you, Catherine. Hello, Viviana. Yeah, so everyone congratulate YOH Crochet. I actually think specifically today she's not with us. She has been to most of the past lives, but I think I haven't seen her today. So, or maybe she's lurking. I don't know. So you are the winner of last week, and once again, this week's yarn will be this beautiful yarn from Darn Good Yarn. It is a lace weight. It's called ombre recycled silk yarn, and the colorway is purple. There are 50 grams and 230 yards, and it is classified as a lace weight. It is 100% recycled silk. So to win this one, when this live stream goes into replay, just come back and comment down below. You can comment whatever you want, and on next week's live I will draw the winner. Okay, last chance to ask any questions before I leave you guys and go see the Voice of Germany's final. Oh, I do want to say, last week's live, I had the live game show with all the prizes. I gave away a whole bunch of prizes, and I do believe there were 15 or 16 questions, so 15 or 16 prizes. 2 people still have not contacted me to claim their prize. So if you won some kind of prize on last week's live and you still haven't contacted me to claim your prize, then please do if you actually want to get your prize. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. All right, everyone. So I am going to sign off now, and I'm going to leave the live stream running for just a few more seconds so that everyone can say goodbye to everyone. And then this live stream will end and go into replay, and then don't forget to come back and comment. If you haven't yet, please give this video a thumbs up, and if you're not yet subscribed to my channel, I would very much appreciate if you consider subscribing. I will see you all next time. Thank you for watching. Bye.